You can do it today on Fortitude Through Stoicism, and this is my 365-day journey of implementing the ancient philosophy of Stoicism into the life of this modern masculine man. You can do it! You've heard this, in a lot of different movies. The truth is, demonstrated here by Marcus Aurelius, if you find something very difficult to achieve, don't imagine it as impossible. For anything possible and proper for another person can be achieved as easily by you. Before I go into Ryan Holiday's message here in the Daily Stoic, I immediately brought me back to Roger Bannister. Who's Roger Bannister, Shawn? Roger Bannister is the first man to break the 4-minute mile. Now, the interesting thing about the 4-minute mile is up until 1954, it was seen as an unachievable possibility, right? Couldn't be done. 4-minute mile couldn't be broken. Well, as soon as Roger Bannister broke the 4-minute mile in 1954, many people, and in fact, even in high school, 23 high schoolers since that time have broke the 4-minute mile. As soon as one person proves it's possible, then other people think that they can do it. Because there are two types of people in this world, as Ryan Holiday explains. The first looks at what others have accomplished and thinks, why them? Why not me? The other looks at the same people and thinks, shit, if he can do it, I can do it. Now, one is a zero-sum and jealous, which means if you win, I lose, right? This is what you see a lot of FOMO. If he wins, I lose, missing out, jealousy. But the other, if they can do it, so can I, is a non-zero sum, which means there's plenty to go around for everyone. Because if Roger Bannister runs the 4-minute mile, it doesn't mean that I can't run the 4-minute mile. It just means I need to work a little harder, train a little harder. Which attitude will propel you onward and upward? Think about this. Are you going to be jealous and bitter? Or are you going to see someone doing the thing as inspiration? And now I've talked about this in length. My secret to all of my successes is that I stole the idea from someone else. I'd get into an industry and I would see what somebody was doing and say, I want to do what he's doing. So I'd copy what they were doing. So if I was a mile athlete and I saw Roger Bannister go out there and break the 4-minute mile, what would I do? Well, I would train like Roger Bannister. I would follow his running cadence. I would see what his nutrition plan is. I would try and mimic everything that Roger Bannister was doing because he created the blueprint for success. Now, along that blueprint, I may make some edits to make it mine, right? To give it my authentic appeal. And truthfully, this is the same thing that anybody can do. Anybody who's listening to this, whatever industry you're in, whatever sport that you're in, whatever your passion is, even if you're at the very tip of the spear, but let's assume you're not. Let's assume you're on the upward journey, right? Model success. Do what successful people are doing. Now, if you do everything that other successful people are doing and you are not achieving success, perhaps you have skill limitations. Perhaps you're down the wrong path. But you will also figure out really quick what you're made of. But more likely what will happen is, and I give the example of the mortgage business. I was an average producer. 1 million, 1.5 million a month. It's about a $10,000 a month, income for me. My early 20s. Now, I didn't like being average. I looked around and I saw what average people are doing. They're hanging out at the water cooler. No shit, real water cooler. Getting coffee, talking shit about the rates, talking shit about the underwriters, talking shit about the processors. Can't get my files done because the damn appraisers are bringing in value. Wham. But the successful people weren't doing that. The successful people were at their desk picking up the phone, making more calls, right? So I did that. And then I went to the conferences where the successful people were, and I realized they all had coaches, so I got coaches. And I had a business plan because they had a business plan. And eventually, I started doing the numbers they were doing. So in the course of a year, I went from doing $1.5 million a month to over $7 million a month. So you take my income and you multiply that by 7. That was the result of modeling success, doing what other successful people are doing. So like today's message, you can do it too. Up until I started 75 Hard, I believed it was impossible to see my six-pack, my abs. Why? Well, everyone in my family was fat. Aunts were fat, uncles were fat, brothers overweight. I won't call him fat because I love him. He's a great human. Mom was chunky. Dad's got his belly. And Dad's always been pretty fit, but he still got his belly. Now, so I look around and see everyone in my blood fat. Well, it's genetics. That's blame, right? That's an excuse. It's not real. So when I started doing what other successful people were doing, and I did 75 Hard, I realized it wasn't genetics. It was my habits. It was my lifestyle. Because if you wear it, you ate it, right? So instead of saying, oh, woe is me, he's a Greek god because he was born with beautiful abs and gorgeous hair, take the non-zero sum approach and say, man, there's plenty of fitness to go around, right? Just because he's lean and jacked and sexy as fuck doesn't mean that I can't be. Or I could be that person, oh, must be nice. Here all the time. Must be nice. Yeah, fucking hard work is, bitch. Do something. You might fucking figure it out yourself. Sorry. That was unstoic of me. But the reality is what I can focus on is putting my energy into the thing. So if he can do it, you can do it. And on that, let's go out and do it.